like to enter Prime Empire?
Well, wonders never cease. Just a whole half year late, Cartoon Network United States is finally airing Season 12 of NinjaGo on TV. The official airing of Season 12 is so late, in fact, that Season 13 has already aired in Australia and leaked online. Back when Season 12 leaked earlier this year, you might have noticed that I didn't upload a video for it. There's a couple reasons for that. First off, my biggest complaint about Season 12 was the pacing, and it's something I wanted to wait and see if it was a problem with Season 13 as well. If Season 13 had a pacing problem, then we would have had 3 seasons in a row of pacing issues, and this video would have been dedicated to talking about that and how the creative team could try and fix those issues. Thankfully, though, Season 13 didn't have any pacing issues whatsoever. In fact, Season 13 was fantastic, so I've had to throw out my original idea for what this video was going to be about. So don't expect this video to be incredibly well structured like most of my NinjaGo videos are. This will essentially be a recap of my thoughts in the last few months in terms of the NinjaGo community and everything we've gotten. Starting off, we'll take a look at Season 12, since this is the first official NinjaGo content we got in 2020. Overall, I wouldn't call this season bad, but it has some missteps. As I alluded to a moment ago, one of those missteps is the pacing. The first half of the season flows along pretty well, but then it all goes downhill pretty quickly. And I mean that literally. The pacing is breakneck speed to the finale. Part of why that is that compared to Season 11, Season 12 only has 16 episodes. Judging by statements that Tommy Andreasen has made online, the writing team doesn't get to choose how many episodes the season gets, and they're forced to bend to the will of the budgeting/marketing team. This is conjecture, as I haven't seen any proof to support this claim, but it's possible that the decision to give Season 12 fewer episodes might have taken the writing team by surprise. If they had the season mapped out for 30 episodes and all of a sudden had to scrap half of them, that would explain why the pacing was so wonky. It would also explain the shorts that came out prior to the season's release. These shorts were released to introduce the audience to the world of Prime Empire and takes place a couple episodes into the season. Combined, these shorts make up the running length of an episode, give or take, so why weren't they just included in the season run? Was it to get one over on the marketing/budget guys so they could have more story and setup when they were denied half a season worth of content? Again, I can only speculate on this, but it would explain a lot. The main villain, Unagami, is hardly seen throughout the season, and a few key developments happen off-screen, such as the ninja getting caught up on Jay's side of the story once they enter the game. Finale is a rushed mess, and while the ideas present are really cool, not enough time is devoted to them for them to really work. At the very least, a positive that can be said about the storytelling is that the story flowed sequentially this time, and the writers learned from their episode placement mistakes back in Season 11. Where Season 12 really shines is in its visuals. This may be the best looking season of the entire show. All the different effects used to differentiate the digital world from the real one are great and give Prime Empire a unique feeling in the world of NinjaGo. It doesn't look anything like the Digiverse, the other digital world the Ninja have traveled to in the past, which is good. In terms of a location, Prime Empire stands on its own and is a welcome addition to the show. All the different references to video games and gamers themselves is fun, and not all of them are obvious. There's a little something for everyone in Prime Empire in terms of Easter eggs. Overall, the season radiates an essence of cool, and the LEGO sets built for this season echo this. If I had the space on my shelf, I would have picked up several of them, but with limited room, I sort of have to prioritize what LEGO sets I buy and when. While it isn't the worst NinjaGo has ever seen in terms of storytelling, the rushed nature of the story does unfortunately edge it closer to the bottom of the season's ranking list. If the creative team was bamboozled and had to scramble a bit to put the season together with fewer episodes than they thought they would get, I feel sorry for them. It's clear that they had great ideas and cared a lot about making the season great. It just unfortunately didn't work out. When the leaks for Season 13 started and it looked like it was going to be a Cole-centric season, I didn't exactly have high hopes. I've expressed my lack of interest in Cole as a character in the past, and following Season 12, those feelings weren't exactly improved on. With Season 13 having aired in Australia and have been leaked online, however, I can happily say I was totally wrong. Season 13 is fantastic, the best the show has been since Hunted ended back in 2018. Obviously, spoilers are to follow, so if you haven't watched the season yet, look it up on YouTube. It's probably not hard to find at this point. Master of the Mountain only has 16 episodes like Season 12 did, but it seems to have known that going in and figured out how to use every single episode to push the story forward and keep things moving at a good pace. The story never feels slow, it never feels too fast, it feels just right. The pacing was perfect. I honestly don't have too many qualms with this season, just one or two nitpicks that I point out and then gloss over because the season overall just handled so well. My biggest one is with the villain, King Vangelis / the Skull Sorcerer. The season is kick-started when the ninja are invited to the mythical kingdom of Shintaro for Princess Vanya's birthday. As soon as they arrive, they're thrown into danger and have a new bad guy to face, who turns out to be Vanya's father, the king. Her mom must have died of that dreaded Disney parent disease some time ago. His motivations for the most part are pretty solid. He uses slave labor in the mines underneath the kingdom to make a profit on the sizable Vengestone deposits and increase his kingdom's wealth. Typical bad guy 101 stuff, nothing revolutionary, but it works fine. The only problem I have is why he allowed the ninja to come to Shintaro in the first place. Surely if he's a secret bad guy and his daughter wants these heroes famous across the world for defeating a large roster of villains to attend her birthday party, you'd make an excuse for them not to come, right? If they stick their noseless minifigure faces where they don't belong, that could mean a threat to your power. And look what happens. The king is defeated and deposed with his evil plans foiled. Like I said, though, this is really a nitpick. I can easily see a scenario where he controlled the dire bats to attack the bounty in flight, and it was only the quick action of the guards that saved him, or he was overconfident that he can control them while they were in the city. The season is presented so well that I'm sort of grasping at things to complain about. The only other complaints I have really come down to one or two moments that could have had more time devoted to them, but they're handled well enough that I don't really think it's a big issue. One of those moments was the flashback of Cole's mom, Lily. I would have much preferred a series of flashbacks interlaced throughout the season showing their bond and then ending with her dying in bed like we got, as opposed to the one. The old format of regular 22-minute episodes would have been able to do this well, but considering the current format, I think it was handled well enough. I was able to get the gist. So with that being said, let's talk about Cole. I've had my complaints about him in the past, and while he's still not my favorite ninja, I think I understand him a little better as a character now compared to past seasons. One of the things I've always wondered about Cole is why does he do the things he does? Why does he fight evil? It might be a little bit of a cop-out easy answer, but to put it simply,
I don't want to kill anyone. I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
Putting more focus on Cole this season also allowed for his sarcasm and leadership abilities to come out into play, which works wonders on helping him be a little more three-dimensional. When Vanya assumed Cole was the leader, I laughed out loud considering the original bios for the ninja and the pilots back in 2011 did in fact position him as the leader, only for Kai and Lloyd to then take that title away from him. Instead of keeping that as a one-off joke though, the writers then gave Cole his own little B-team to command like Jay got back in Skybound. I seem to be the only one who was lukewarm on these characters, the lowly or the uply as they ended up being. There are far better side characters we've gotten in the past, but I still wouldn't say no to future appearances for them. Overall, this season did a great job spotlighting Cole and proving why people have taken a liking to him. Since the transition from the old format into the new one, fans have been a little apprehensive, to put it lightly. One of those reasons is because of the change in animation teams. While I wish Will Film, the previous animator on the NinjaGo series, all the best, this new animation team is phenomenal. While Season 12 was potentially the best looking season we've ever had, Season 13 is undoubtedly the best animated season. The fluidity in the movements and the fight scenes is incredible, and the one-shot takes during the finale were amazing. Season 11 was a good test of what this new team could do, and with 2 seasons under their belts now, they've upped their game in Season 13. Overall, Season 13 was very well done, and while I don't think it cracked my top 5 favorite seasons, I'm very excited for what comes in the future. Speaking of, obviously NinjaGo is a cash cow theme for LEGO, and it doesn't show any signs of stopping anytime soon. Thanks to Tommy's Twitter account, which is a goldmine of digital information on the show, we know it's likely we've got 2 more seasons coming at the very least. So where could the story potentially go from here? Well, a big clue was dropped in Season 13. Vinchstone seems to be a major factor in the next season. As King Vangelis mentioned, he had a buyer for it. As we know, Vinchstone isn't some mineral like copper, silver, or iron. It has one main attribute, and that's limiting the elemental powers of elemental masters. So, who out there is wanting to buy a mountain's worth of Vinchstone? Is it some as-of-now unknown foe, or is it a foe familiar to us? I think that the villain of next season, or the one after, will be a returning villain, and I think I know who it is. Naracon the Djinn. Here's my evidence. Since moving into the new format, every season has had some sort of reference to Naracon. Now, referencing this mystical pirate djinn isn't unheard of prior to the format change. There's that great moment in Sons of Garmadon where the commissioner is going through a list of potential threats and he mentions a pirate genie, something in his subconscious seemingly aware of the events that went down. More notably, his image is inscribed on the monastery's Spinjitzu in March of the Oni. The painting is obvious, but I feel like the recent references since the format change are more substantial since they're not just references. They're technically appearances. First, the teapot appears in Season 11, being coughed up from the bowels of the giant beetle. Naracon is still in the lamp thanks to the events of the way back. Next, the teapot appears again in the opening of Season 12. Clutch Powers finds it on the street and picks it up, walking out of frame as a mysterious glow is seen. Now, Clutch does appear at the end of Season 12, but we'll get to that in a moment. Finally, at the beginning of Season 13, Lloyd calls out the teapot by name along with his father and Pythor. That's 3 seasons worth of back-to-back-to-back appearances/references. So here's what I think as of now. Clutch finds the teapot in NinjaGo City and unleashes Naracon. Naracon, bound to the teapot, is forced to obey Clutch until he can trick him into wishing himself away, or he wishes Naracon free of the teapot's hold. If Notakon gets Clutch to wish him away, then the Clutch we see at the end of Season 12 is Notakon in disguise. If Notakon is free of the teapot, then the Clutch we see at the end of Season 12 is actually Clutch, and he's chalked the experience of Notakon up to one of his various misadventures and doesn't think it's a threat worth mentioning to the ninja. As established in Skybound, there aren't many who actually know about Notakon anyway. Regardless to the specifics, Notakon is free and it's time for revenge. He knows that the same tricks won't work twice. We have to assume that Notakon retained his memories like Jay and Nia, so he needs a new plan. Since the Realm Crystal is destroyed, he can't get his old crew back, but then again, why would he want them back? They all betrayed him at the end. So he's forced to go it alone, and he needs Vengestone to block the ninja's elemental powers. What's the story from there? No clue, but I think the setup is all there. Time will tell whether or not this comes to pass, but I look forward to what's to come no matter what. And that'll be it for this video. A little more scattered and all over the place than most of my NinjaGo videos, but I had a lot to cover this time around. The downside to Season 13 being over in July, as of the time of this writing, is that we've now got to wait 6 or more months for the next season. I've been busy working on other things during quarantine, which will hopefully be hitting the channel soon, but if a good topic for a NinjaGo video pops into my head or something happens to the community that needs to be talked about, I'll make sure to make a video on it. Until then, though, thanks for watching.